Swifties, we've got a documentary series and the entire Vancouver show is coming to Disney+. We were right about everything. We're getting a documentary series called The End of an Era, an exclusive 6-episode docu-series on Disney+, with the first 2 episodes premiering on December 12th. And it will feature all the behind-the-scenes stuff that we have wanted for so long, like everybody rehearsing, song selection, hair and makeup, everything. But we are also getting Taylor Swift The Eras Tour, the final show. The last shows in Vancouver are going to be on film with an HD version of the Tortured Poets department. Literally everything we have wanted. In a recent post, Taylor said it was the end of an era and we knew it. We wanted to remember every moment leading up to the culmination of the most important and intense chapter of our lives, so we allowed filmmakers to capture this tour and all the stories woven throughout it as it wound down, and to film the final show in its entirety. The Eras Tour, the final show, featuring the entire Tortured Poets department set and the first 2 episodes of The End of an Era, a 6-episode behind-the-scenes documentary, will be yours December 12th. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hey, I was at the grand finale show, you know, the one that's going to be a movie now, and during Long Live, she's saying it was the end of an era instead of it was the end of a decade, which obviously, as we know now, was an Easter egg to this, which is exactly what a great Taylor Swift Easter egg is. Something that's in your face, that works for the moment, but also doubles as something else later. Another example of this is the exit signs. Swifties picked up right away that we've been seeing exit signs all throughout the Life of a Showgirl era, which works because we're going backstage behind the Eras Tour, which is where this album takes place. But we also got 2 pieces of media that close out the Eras era. In other words, we are exiting the Eras era. The documentary series and the final show. These are the type of Easter eggs that Taylor Swift does best. And this is something that Taylor Swift has been doing excellently well since the Life of a Showgirl began. I need to watch this trailer 7,000 more times in order to understand everything, but let me know what Easter eggs you found in the comments. Follow for more updates. I am so excited. Taylor Swift just made music history by debuting at #1 on the Billboard charts with 4,002,000 album units sold. Breaking that down, we have 680.9 million on-demand streams and 3,479,500 pure sales. Putting that in perspective, she outsold the first week's sales of her debut album, Taylor Swift, in the US by 100 times. She also broke her own record with the biggest vinyl sales week for any album in Nielsen history with 1.334 million albums sold, beating out the Tortured Poets department and 1989 Taylor's version. Oh, but we're not done. The Fate of Ophelia has now been #1 for 10 consecutive days on global Spotify. She also becomes the first artist in history to have multiple albums debut with over 2 million units in the US. It is the first and only album to ever debut with over 4 million album units sold. She extends her record as the soloist with the most total weeks at #1 on the Billboard charts with 87, and she now holds 7 of the biggest opening weeks for albums by female artists in the US, with The Life of a Showgirl, The Tortured Poets department, 1989 Taylor's version, Midnight's, 1989, Reputation, and Red. And to top it all off, The Life of a Showgirl has now sold reportedly over 5.5 million album units worldwide in its first week of release. And before you fight me with the whole variant conversation, I would like you to remember that you need to have fans who are willing to buy that many versions of your album. And only 4 physical versions and 1 digital version of that counts per person. But you know, since some of you won't listen to Swifties who are actually enjoying the record and telling you that they like it, maybe you'll believe the charts. Taylor also made a post on Instagram thanking fans, saying, "I'll never forget how excited I was in 2006 when my first album sold 40,000 copies in its first week. I was 16 and couldn't even fathom that many people would care enough about my music to invest their time and energy into it. Since then, I've tried to meet and thank as many people as I could who have given me the chance to chase this insane dream. Here we are all these years later, and 100 times that many people showed up for me this week. I have 4 million thank yous I want to send to the fans and 4 million reasons to feel even more proud of this album than I already was. Thank you for going out to celebrate this project in movie theaters, investing in vinyl, streaming, watching the video, buying CDs, reading the poems I wrote inside the packaging, and immersing yourselves in the life of a showgirl. I'll cherish this feeling forever. Just wow. Thank you for the lovely bouquet." Finally, I got a chance today to watch episode 1 of season 2 of The Swift Effect, and it was fantastic. I may have had a cameo in season 1, so I'm a little bit biased, but genuinely, season 2 is off to a great start in comparison to season 1. Season 2 basically starts off right around the time of the New Heights podcast airing, and sort of all of the crazy that was happening last August. which if you remember, was a lot. And so throughout the first episode, it's referenced a lot. There's also a lot of references to previous statements that Taylor has made, such as her NYU speech containing a whole bunch of lyrics for Midnights, or this famous appearance where she mentions, "Can I Easter egg something 3 years in advance?" And the episode does a great job of exploring the theme of what is an Easter egg and what is not, and not knowing. If you hang out in Swiftie spaces, you'll also get to see a few familiar faces. Hi, Vinny. Brian West, the Taylor Swift reporter, the girls from Taylor Watch. One thing I love about Cody Broadway, the director of The Swift Effect, is he's an actual Swiftie. So it's fun to see a wide range of different people's perspectives on Taylor Swift, whether that's traditional media, the news, her fashion, all sorts of different aspects, and I love that it's explored in the first episode. It's especially fun to watch it in the context of all the news we got recently and all of the records that the life of a showgirl has now broken. For example, Brian brings up the fact that Taylor was always saying "keep it 100, which we now know is a lyric from The Fate of Ophelia. The episode does a great job exploring Taylor Swift as a brand, but also as a person. And again, that's why I like that this show is made by a genuine Swiftie. Somebody who gets it, somebody who actually understands her artistry, but also understands the business aspect of it. Whereas sometimes when things are made about Taylor Swift, it heavily swings one way or the other. The question posed at the end of the episode is, what will happen after TS12? What is her next era? And the answers that people give in the context of not knowing what was going to happen is so fun to watch. Definitely check it out if you haven't. I don't appear in season 2, but shout out to everybody that does. If you've seen The Swift Effect, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Alright friends, Showgirl merch has finally arrived. This is going to be the blue sweatshirt that Sam is now wearing on the website. I was on the fence about it originally, but then I started talking to some of the other Swiftie creators and they said you should buy it so we could be twins, and I don't know, I had a credit card and I blacked out. So let's open it up. Okay. Okay. Here we go. This had better be soft, you know what I'm saying? Let's find out. Oh. Oh, wait. I'm going right in. Oh, okay. It's definitely a bit larger than I thought and more heavy duty than I thought, so let's put it on. Okay, not bad. This is a large. I like the print. It feels okay. How's the back look? Oh, it's plain. Okay. But it bothers me that there's no pocket. Not bad. Like I said, this is a large, so not too bad. This would normally bother me, but actually, you know what? It kind of looks kind of cool. It's kind of like a modern design. Actually, I don't hate that now that it's on my body. To be fair, I didn't hate it originally, but I mean, you saw the designs. It's pretty soft on the inside. Not maybe like as soft as some of her other crew necks. Like I said, it is very heavy duty, but it's very comfortable. It's a little oversized, but overall, I like it. Hey class, when you see one of your favorite Swiftie creators say that this A13 could be an Easter egg for TS13, I need you to take a pause and a seat before you write anything in the comments to the effect of, "Guys, she just released an album." Because one or two or many of you need to understand that some of us have been a fan of Taylor Swift for 20 years. This is our 12th album cycle with her. Not first, not second, not fifth. 12. Meaning that some of us actually know her artistry, and instead of giving all of this attention to people posting wildly incorrect takes online, we're actually having fun with the record and putting a pin in a few things that look a little interesting. Because one of the things that Taylor Swift has always done is Easter egg her next project in the middle of the one she's promoting. Don't believe me? Let's roll back the clock. May 9th, 2024, Taylor debuted a brand new orange bodysuit at the Eras Tour, which we now know, as confirmed by Taylor Swift herself in a recent interview, that this was in fact an Easter egg for the life of a showgirl. When did this happen? Within 1 month of dropping the Tortured Poets department. Following lockdowns and the pandemic, which changed a lot of things in the music industry and everyone had to cease promotions for a while, Taylor Swift randomly got on Instagram and posted "not a lot going on at the moment" on April 27th, 2020, which would have been more promotions for Lover had things gone a different way because of the pandemic. And we now know this to be a cheeky caption to let us know that a lot was going on the moment because this was an Easter egg for Folklore, something she repeated on November 22nd, 2020, posting this photo, which ended up being an Easter egg for Evermore. They have the same caption because the albums are related. Following the completion of the Reputation Stadium tour, Taylor Swift posted on Instagram on February 10th, 2019, a color scheme that would be echoed in Lover. Within 1 month of Fearless Taylor's version dropping on May 11th, 2021, Taylor Swift posted this, signifying a stark contrast in her filters on her Instagram, indicating that Red Taylor's version was coming a lot sooner than we thought. During a time when we thought Taylor Swift was just going to release re-recorded albums, Taylor Swift went to New York University and gave a speech for her honorary doctorate that contained all sorts of lyric Easter eggs for Midnights, months before its release. On March 16th, 2023, while still in the middle of Midnight's promotions, Taylor posted this carousel of behind-the-scenes photos from the Eras Tour, featuring a white microphone that we did not see for over a year until we got the Tortured Poets department added to the set list. Again, I repeat, over a year. While on the Red Tour in 2014, Taylor debuted a brand new short haircut, which she confirmed in the prologue of 1989 Taylor's version was in fact an Easter egg for 1989. And in December of 2011, while on the Speak Now World Tour, Taylor posted this photo on Instagram with red shoes and a caption that confirmed we would be getting a brand new album we would later find out would be called Red. Absolutely no one is saying TS13 is coming tomorrow. But a lot of us understand that her 13th album is going to be fun because any 13 could be an egg, because it's her number. No one is chanting more. Hope this helps. I have packages. Yeah, by the way, I got the canceled hoodie as well. I would have made a video yesterday, but I was too busy playing Pokemon Legends ZA that I forgot. But this is gonna be the jacket, and let's open it up. So I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but her merch is coming from UMG instead of like Taylor Swift shop. I don't know when that started, but it's just something I noticed. Okay, here we go. I hope it's really soft, or at least like comfortable. I'm a sucker for a bomber jacket. I know it's really bad, but I do kind of love. Oh, it's sparkly. Okay, I'm kind of obsessed. This is really comfortable. It's also very warm. I like the pockets. It's a little tight down here, but not like terrible. The inside has an inner pocket, which is kind of nice. But this is a large, and you know what? I don't mind it. It's like glittery. It's kind of telling me that I need to work out tonight, and I don't appreciate that. Okay, maybe I can play a little less Pokemon tonight. But overall, I really like it. Here's what you missed on the journey to TS12 Week 10. Taylor Swift announced on Good Morning America that we would be finally getting an Eras Tour documentary series, as well as the Eras Tour The Final Show as a film, finally featuring the Tortured Poets department. And with the announcement came a brand new trailer, giving us some details about this documentary series and the film, which will begin on December 12th. In it, we can see things like Taylor's workout routine, rehearsals for the show, how she ended her days, potentially an Easter egg for TS13, because why not? And a whole bunch of other cool stuff that Swifties have been begging for at least over 2 years. You call it an artist milking her fan base, I call it an artist listening to her fan base. Give me one Swiftie that didn't quite literally beg for this. You can't. The Life of a Showgirl sold over 5.5 million units around the world, and in the US alone sold over 4.002 million units, which means Taylor, 19 years into her career, outsold her debut album by over 100 times. But it's okay, we'll make up that number when self-titled Taylor's version comes out. Remember, she said it was done, not me, not John, but I'm not gonna turn it down when it comes out. You call it milking her fan base, I call it an artist listening to her fan base. Taylor Swift became the first artist in history to have multiple albums debut with over 2 million units in the US. And with her over 4 million unit debut, Taylor said she had 4 million thank yous for all of us. You're welcome, mother. Rep TV. Taylor also occupied the entire top 12 of the Billboard Hot 100, with The Fate of Ophelia becoming Taylor Swift's 13th #1 hit. He also became the first artist in history to simultaneously debut a film, album, and song all at #1 in the United States. Okay, Swifties, I see you. Good job. Taylor Nation celebrated the 2-week anniversary of The Life of a Showgirl by hosting a streaming party on Stationhead. Taylor donated $100,000 to a young girl named Lila, who's battling stage 4 cancer, after seeing a video of Lila dancing to The Fate of Ophelia where she calls Taylor Swift her friend. So Taylor wrote, "Sending the biggest hug to my friend Lila, love Taylor." And then Swifties proceeded to donate in $13 increments, as we always do. Swifties, good job! Then Swifties donated over $2 million to Monterey Bay's aquarium directly to their sea otter program after they saw Taylor wear one of their shirts at the release party of a Showgirl. Swifties, good job again. Sabrina Carpenter took to SNL to give us our first live performance of The Fate of Ophelia. Okay, it was a continuation of the Domingo sketch, but it was to the tune of The Fate of Ophelia. It was hilarious. You need to watch it, because I'm not sure if Mother is actually going to perform this album live anytime soon. So we'll take what we can get. Sabrina, good job. Taylor then extended her record as the soloist with the most cumulative weeks at #1 with 88 weeks. The Fate of Ophelia stayed strong at #1 for 16 straight days, and The Life of a Showgirl earned an additional 338,000 units, making it the biggest second week for any album in the US since the Tortured Poets department, bringing our grand total up to 4.34 million units in the US. That's my flop album. And that's basically what you missed on the journey to TS12 Week 10. I will see you, well, actually things are kind of winding down. So this one might be the last week in the journey to TS12, unless something major happens in week 11. Then I'll see you on Sunday. I don't think you've seen the last of me though. We still have a documentary to recap. I'm pretty sure one last recap directly from the Eras Tour.